Aloha from the Noeau Center at the University of Hawaii, West Oahu. This video will discuss study skills with tips and recommendations from Noeau tutors and staff. Your hosts today will be Michelle, Elijah, and Dylan. Let's get started.
Hi, my name is Michelle Zhang, and I'm a junior majoring in creative media at West Oahu. A little app I like to use while studying is Forest Stay Focused app. It is a timer that you set on your smartphone to metaphorically plant trees. Leaving the app will cause the plant to wither, so it encourages you to stay on the app, preventing you from using other apps such as Twitter or Instagram while you work. If you're like me, and you have a slight addiction to social media, it's good to physically prevent yourself from using other apps and instead let this one run. Self-timers also work, but the reason why I like this app is that it keeps you accountable, because the second you leave the app for any reason, your plant will start to decay. You can't just leave it on in the background, it needs to be the most active app to work. You can turn off your phone with no problem, so it encourages you to put down your phone, and you'll have a beautiful reward waiting when you're done. They also have a program where you can use the coins that you've gained while studying to plant real trees in the world. All you literally have to do is set a timer and not use your phone. Simple and easy. A study tip I recommend for college students is to make group chats with classmates. You'll be able to send pictures and questions to people who know exactly what's going on in the same class as you. It's hard to tackle this college stuff alone, so it's nice to have someone to turn to immediately. Miss a class? Just send a quick text to one of your classmates to see what you missed. More likely than not, they'll respond with no problem. West Oahu has some of the kindest, most helpful people, and you have nothing to fear for when asking for help. You guys can do checkups on each other and hold each other accountable for your work, or just lend a helping hand when the work gets too tough. It's a little intimidating to put yourself out there, but even simply exchanging social medias or emails will be the most useful tool in your belt. If you're uncomfortable sharing your real number, there are group chat apps such as Line or GroupMe that you can use to stay in contact with your fellow classmates as well. When it comes to writing papers, it's easy to be overwhelmed by mountains and mountains of content. A technique I like to use is tracking your citations and articles. I ready my note page by writing the citation on the top, then the title, then I start to annotate and take notes on the article. Anything you take notes on needs to be cited, every page and paragraph. This way, if you do end up using the notes from that article, the citation is right there and ready to use. You put in a little work in the front half, so then you have less to worry about in the latter half. This process takes a bit of a long time, so I recommend 2 days of work time just to gather all your notes and figure out your outline before writing. Good luck!
Up next, we have Elijah Maluo. He's a senior at West Oahu, majoring in social sciences.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Today we'll be talking about plotting out assignments. One thing to think about when choosing which assignments to focus on is the final due date and the difficulty of the assignment. What I like to do in my courses is pull up the syllabus for my course and a spreadsheet. Here, I like to map out how many assignments I have to do by their categories and what are the hard deadlines. So as we can see here, I have my homework assignments, my response papers, and my research assignments. This is typically what was found in my summer course here. From here, I can see how many I have to complete and how many I can put off for at least a little bit. So like over here, my homework assignments are due by the 8th of June, and I have 2 papers due by the 8th of June, as well as 2 aspects of the research assignment, which means that first week is kind of hectic. But it looks like I have another 2-week gap before the next set of assignments, so I can put these ones off a little bit. While some say it is better to tackle the harder assignments, personally, I like doing the easier assignments first, like these homework ones. They tend to sneak up on me, and as time goes on, I prefer knocking them out first. I also notice that this usually motivates me to do more, and I try to keep the momentum for as long as I can to see if I can maybe move to the next response papers. Lastly, as each assignment is finished, remember to submit them, of course, and cross them off the list. But that's kind of how I do my assignments. Try it out. Maybe it'll help you.
Elijah also has some recommendations for writing research papers.
One thing I like to do before starting any paper is creating an outline. Think of an outline like a map or the instruction manual for a Lego set. It gets you to where you need to go, and it makes sure you don't miss any parts along the way. Luckily, as we see here, the Noyau Center has a sample outline for us to use on their website. Now, keep in mind, as cartoonish as this is, it is still very effective in molding your essay. What you do here is you put in your normal information for your introductions, your main ideas, and any supporting details you may have, if you have them. Even when you're just starting the paper, just having the ideas of where you're going to go is much better than having nothing at all. The next thing I do from there is I start to take notes on my sources. What I like to do here is almost pre-writing my paragraphs. So let me just share this document right here. So these paragraphs are all pre-written. As I was reading the sources, I would just start writing down what they're saying, taking key phrases that they use and using it in my own words and developing it from there. And then I just start slapping them together into paragraphs. Now, what I like to do when I'm pre-writing these paragraphs is I don't really worry about whether or not they fit together for the paper. I'm just writing my ideas down, I'm just getting it in there so that they're ready to go for when I need them. Then, after I do all of my research and all of my pre-writes, I start to just fill in the blanks for my paper. I start taking these paragraphs that are pre-written and putting them into the ideas, just up on the outline, where they belong, where they fit together, which ones lead better into each other. And then I just start cleaning it up. I start to read through it, make sure it sounds nice, make sure it flows well, make sure there's no grammatical errors or sudden changes in voices. I just make sure that it's nice and clean. That is how I get my first draft up and running. Sometimes I get a peer or even a friend to read it. Hopefully when they do, they can find any issues I may have missed or some areas that I can develop. Yep, so these are just some of the tricks I use to start and finish my papers. And remember, if you need help with your papers, come check us out at the Noyau Center. I'm down to work with you. Mahalo.
Finally, we have Dylan Kiavehu, who is a staff member and 2020 graduate. Dylan majored in accounting and economics.
Hello. What I'd like to talk about today is how to more easily deal with difficult math-focused subjects and some things that I've picked up along the way in order to learn better. My first and easiest tip is to find a partner or group that you can work with. What I've found through my journey is that talking through problems from start to finish can help me get a better sense of what I'm understanding, as well as what I'm not understanding, and how I can do that. While it's a bit difficult to meet up in person, sometimes I find that meeting online can be just as advantageous, given that you find a time where everyone's awake and ready to learn. Apart from studying collaboratively, I find that Quizlet can be really useful when there are a lot of formulas that you need help remembering or to familiarize yourself with terminology, especially in a course that heavily relies on computations. As we can see here in Quizlet, there are little flashcards that we can create, and we can go through periodically to just kind of reinforce the things that we're trying to learn. And it makes it very simple to learn vast and numerous concepts in a very short time. So that's all I have. Thanks for listening. Aloha.
That concludes our study skills tutorial video. We hope you learned something new. To view additional tutorials or to schedule a tutoring session, you can visit us at westoahu.hawaii.edu/Noyau Center. Thanks for watching.